Hello, this is High Templar with my new Total War Warhammer Mechanics video. And today will be the second video about difficulty levels, because this thing is causing a lot of controversy. So I wanted to explain how it works. Let's start with the campaign difficulty and then go to battles. So in the campaign difficulty you can go from easy all the way through normal, hard, very hard and legendary. Now, the legendary also, if you pick legendary, it tells you that manual saves are not allowed in the campaign, and it cannot be, orders cannot be issued if you pause. So this is that part. The second part is battle realism, and you can turn it off and on whenever you want, but on legendary you cannot. And manual saves, yeah, you just can't. That's very good. So, if you want to get into custom battle, you won't be given an option of legendary difficulty. You can go easy, normal, hard and very hard, but not legendary. Why is that? Well, that's because those two things that you've seen are the only changes to the combat that are there in legendary mode. The legendary mode combat is actually very hard. This is the same difficulty, and you can see it very quickly. Yes. If I go here to options and then go to campaign options, you could see that battle difficulty is set to very hard, and this is actually, that's it. You cannot go any harder than that. And battery realism mode is just switched off, you cannot change that. Right? So, second thing that is changed is obedience or public order or whatever. From the difficulty level, you have -8 and your opponent has +10. And that is a change on legendary. It's quite severe. It's really severe. It will block any... It will block very well the vampiric corruption and chaos corruption attempts and so on and so forth. And raiding, and generally if you want to create rebellion for your enemy. Now let's just go here and talk about auto-resolve. Auto-resolve is not affected by difficulty level. That means you will always get the same values. It actually doesn't also affect banners, but that doesn't really matter. So this striped area is randomness. So you can get an effect as you would have a bar here, but you could also get an effect as you would have a bar here. So more or less losses. So we will get plus 150 losses. Oh, this is what I tested so far. So as you can see, 166, right? And that was legendary difficulty. Just replenish it. And as for this is a 7 stack, as you can see, this is a 6 stack. Let's just make sure this guy moves fast. And I will actually retreat with him, which is, I know, a very bad move. But at the same time we will recruit a phlegmatic hero. I'm just making sure I'm not recruiting them in this army, just making sure they won't be... They wouldn't be interested in attacking me and getting off my stance, because I don't have time to fight those battles right now. I just want to show you something slightly different. Those guys are not going to recruitment, are they? Well, never mind really. I will try to show you this very fast. Sorry. Maybe if I force him to recruitment, because right now he only get this 7 and this 6 units. He's now recruiting. So this is 7 stack, and after end of turn, yeah, move wherever, doesn't really matter. And after end of turn, it's 10 stack. Actually, he didn't recruit that many, but he actually have a bonus of 2 additional recruitment. And that also works for pretty much everybody, including the rebels. So I won't be able to show you now, but just trust me on this one. Now let's just start very quickly the same campaign, but on the normal difficulty. Go. Come on, go. This works slightly slower if I record. Obviously he's using the drive, so... Anyhow, Black Crag now has no obedience change from the difficulty level. And so are those guys. Those guys are actually getting +4, okay? On normal, so they do have a little bit of a boost. And if I attack this guy and go into auto-resolve, I'm getting 164 kills, so this is actually slightly less than I got on Legendary. So obviously that's not something that you would normally get. And also at the same time, the AI is less lot aggressive on this difficulty level. And also they are getting more money actually. So this is actually 80 right now on this difficulty level. I'll have to check how much is it more on the Legendary. You can go back in our video and see, but it's more on Legendary. Just making him go into recruitment, although that wouldn't prove really anything, so I'm just skip it because he only recruited 3 at that point, so he will also recruit 3 here. So I wouldn't show you, that's no point there. Let's just go to the battle difficulty and what are the how it affects basically your gameplay. So here let's first see a simple fight between the orc boys on the normal difficulty. Although mind you, I will kill their lord, so he wouldn't butt into the fight. He always try to get in the fight. That will affect their morale greatly, but that's not what we want to see, because now the morale is 63 and 63 for both of the units. What I want to see is killing. So there will be, yeah, those guys will be playing hide and seek with us. Now it's a charge on both sides. And AI doesn't really charge very well. I've kept the same formation, so it wouldn't make sense. So let's, right now after the charge, 74,500 versus 68. So you can see there is a quite of a difference in fighting, and my guys are winning. It even says that it's either even or they are winning. And yeah, that's... And people say that on Legendary or, you know, battle difficulty very hard, the units have insane stats. So let's see the same test for very hard difficulty. boys versus boys. Although AI will behave slightly different, he wouldn't do a strange running away thing, I believe, if my memory serves me well. Let's just quickly stop and see. 60. This guy has 63 morale, leadership, and this one has 78. So there is 15 difference between the units. If you actually look at my unit, you would see that there is 63, but there is morale difficulty by -5. There I have 63 as before, only because my flank is secured right now by the Lord. Before he was behind, so anyhow. And again, AI can't really charge, but now they are actually pretty good at it. But I mean, they didn't run away. There was decent charge, but as you can see on the charge, 7,700 health on Mar guys, 66 on their guys. So didn't help them. The difficulty didn't help them because Orc boys have a just enormous charge bonus, and they lose so greatly. Even if later on we are in the, well, still charge bonus is still affecting us, so we are still winning. It's should be lasting for about 30 seconds, but right now there are just too few of them, so I will just winning throughout this entire battle, I believe. Yep, it's ended. So the charge bonus is lessening, but it's lessening for like, it's lower and lower, the bonus for the 30 seconds, so you would still be winning. And as you can see, I have defeated those guys quite handily, and that's only because my lord was nearby, because I mean, I killed their lord, because if that wouldn't happen, their additional 15 morale would pretty break my guys, because even if they are winning, and they were winning quite decisively, as you can see, so you can kill those guys would be standing long and longer, and the damage done by those guys would affect the morale of my guys, and it's possible my guys would break. However, they are getting a boost from the morale just by winning, and those guys were getting nerfed to the morale because they were losing, so it might have not made that much of a difference. But if the fight is really close, it will. So let's just see those charge bonus 8 goblins in the effect, and now it's very hard, but my guys got a good charge in the enemy, as they usually have actually. And they are actually in even melee combat, because even though they charge into the enemy very well, this enemy has some quite nice bonus, +2 to attack, +2 or 3 to defense. That makes it even combat. Because I was able to wrap around those guys, I'm starting to win slightly, and the charge bonus is still in effect slightly, but still you can see that I am able to win this by 300. It's much lesser of a difference than with Orc boys. That's also something you should watch out a lot, because if you just let the Lord attack the other Lord on the mount, he can just run around like satellite around the enemy Lord. You should go back and charge, because that's very dangerous for you. 44, 45, so those guys are again in even melee combat, and they are gaining. So there was 300 difference, now it's 150 because of difficulty level, because charge bonus has pretty much ended. But those guys have a morale of Those guys have a morale. Damage sustain minus 17 difficulty. There is Lord nearby. So yeah, but those the enemy actually have minus 8 because there are faster and stronger enemies nearby, and plus 10 because of the difficulty. So yeah, you can see how big of a difference that is. And again, and those guys broke because I killed their lord, but as you can see, that was quite even fight. Still winning. So on legendary you can kill those guys. Alright, so let's make another test, and I will test a unit that has a very high attack and defense, because it was set on by one of the employees, one of the official actually spokesman for Creative Assembly, that the bonus versus attack, bonus to attack and defense on very hard difficulty is around 12%. Well, actually to the most of the stats, like not the armor obviously, but to the speed and charge bonus and so forth. So let's see that happening. Those guys will run at each other, yeah. And I got actually missed on the charge, which will also, if you are high charge bonus lord attacking another high charge bonus lord, and you will miss, which might happen. It will rarely happen on high charge bonus, but the enemy will hit you. That will provide enormous boost to your to your enemy, because it can happen. Oh, now I got hit. But yeah, this fight, because of the bonus, this fight will last for some time. But as you can see, 700 versus 1100, and those bonuses for melee attack and defense are not visible. But you can clearly see that was a miss from both sides. And again, yeah, those guys, this guy hit me again and again, and that's it. He's left on 1100. So it is making quite more of a difference, even though the AI can't charge. If you are fighting high stat units, especially lords. So on legendary, it's quite more difficult to battle enemy lord with your lord. You have to watch about that. Sorry, I meant to load another replay, obviously. Let's just shoot. Oh yeah, that's actually exactly the replay I wanted to show you. I clicked it by mistake, but it is the replay that I wanted to show you. So let's see how much of a difference it is. This is actually normal difficulty, so 75 morale on both of those guys. But this is high charge unit of 35. And let's just see how. I just wanted to make for the abilities to be able to use, and you will see how those abilities will and charge bonus will affect the fight between the lords. It's enough, and now my guy is attacked, but not really hit. Well, he was hit once. Now they are fighting. Only still single hit on my guy, and now it's pretty close. But is it? There is actually the same amounts of hits on both guys, but this guy has a lot more health, both because of the charge bonus, but also because and additional armor piercing damage. However, armor piercing damage is not that great on this guy, 150. So this guy bonus to armor piercing is actually only 27, right? But the difference between in health is much more than 27. This is both due to the bonuses, but also to the charge bonus. This is just normal difficulty. So I will just show you how massive of a change is how you start the battle. This guy is winning by 2200 health. So in Legendary, not only will he rout your lord quite faster, because, you know, you have a negative and he has a positive, but also he will have more health and he will hit more often. So when you lose on Legendary, when you lose engagement, it might not have necessarily been due to the fact that there are just such a high stats. It might be due to the fact that you've messed up a charge somehow. And I've seen on many occasions that, I mean, it's very important to get a good charge in high charge units. I mean, it's, you can stand with your dwarves and just, you know, stay there with longbirds being attacked by cav because they have charge against versus, or you with your halberds which have charge defense versus all, and there is you are not worrying about anything. But if you stand and that don't get a good charge with any other unit, you will lose that engagement, and you lose that engagement pretty high. And if you miss your skill cast, if you are casting this spell like few seconds too late, you will lose a lot. And there is and that will be more of a difference than anything else. Anyhow, I hope I'll explain how it works. You should really be, if you lose a fight, I suggest you just save a replay, because it is always helpful to see that. And while in standard combat on very hard difficulty your troops will lose, they will rout a lot earlier, and that's very, very big for all the weaker units, all the low morale units like trolls and so on, because trolls on the very hard are much weaker for you and much stronger for your enemy. That's interesting fact to realize. But also, so all the weaker units have a huge boost from the morale, but also the stronger units, although the flat morale boost is not as big for them, the percentage stats are bigger. Now, not by much, because, you know, normal unit have like 22, and say Black Orcs have 32, if my memory serves me well. So there's like one more melee attack per unit, or one more or two more defense per unit on the very high difficulty. But you still have to be watching that very closely, and vampires will be extremely hard on Legendary. I mean extremely hard, because they will rout you. They won't crumble so fast. Actually, you have to kill their lord to make them crumble. It's very hard to make them crumble on the Legendary difficulty, but on the normal, it's, you know, it's doable with the back charges and so on. But because your morale is lower, and if you are fighting low morale troops, if you are fighting them with dwarves, it's not so big. But if you are fighting them with beastmen or the greenskins, it's very hard, because your guys are fighting inferior force, but they are fighting scary inferior force, and they will run away. Even if they will be winning, they will run away. And you have to watch very hard for protecting your flanks, because your troops will just run away. So protect your flanks, have a lord nearby, use those abilities that boost leadership in the proper moments, or the Legendary difficulty will kill you when fighting vampire guns. I cannot stress enough how important it is. in those particular fights. Anyhow, that's it. I hope you like it. If you did, press like. If you would comment, please leave a comment. And I also would like to recommend my other mechanics videos and my Let's Plays in Total War Warhammer, but also different games. Thank you for watching, and see you later.